This episode is brought to you by Fox One. Watch all 104 matches of the FIFA World Cup live in 4K for just $19.99 a month with 3 days free. Build your own multi-view, choose up to 3 streams, and follow player spotlights. Stay on top of every moment with live stats, highlights, and instant replays. The FIFA World Cup, streaming live on Fox One. Offers are subject to change. See fox.com for complete terms and conditions.
When you need to build up your team to handle the growing chaos at work, use Indeed Sponsored Jobs. It gives your job post the boost it needs to be seen and helps reach people with the right skills, certifications, and more. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. That's Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need a hiring hero? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs.
Study and play come together on a Windows 11 PC. And for a limited time, college students get the best of both worlds. Get the Unreal College Deal. Everything you need to study and play with select Windows 11 PCs. Eligible students get a year of Microsoft 365 Premium and a year of Xbox Game Pass Ultimate with a custom color Xbox wireless controller. Learn more at windows.com/student offer. While supplies last. Ends June 30th. Terms at aka.ms/collegepc.
Hello there, Stanley Carr here. You know, I love collecting music and sports memorabilia. Want to know where you can find some? I'll tell you. Go to oldglory.com. This website features one-of-a-kind apparel from your favorite sports teams and musical artists. And I can help you get 15% off of all items. Use the code WWH135. Enjoy the episode.
Welcome to Wrestling with Heart, a podcast looking at pro wrestlers giving back to their community. Join me, Stanley Carr, as I interview wrestling's hottest names who use their platforms as entertainers to raise awareness and do community service.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Wrestling with Heart. This is the show where we talk with professional wrestlers and professional wrestling personalities about their lives in and outside of the ring, as well as doing acts of charity work, community service, volunteering, and spreading positivity. We're always about the positive vibes here on the show. Before I introduce my guest today, I want to take this time to promote our brand new book. If you can see it right here on the screen, Champions for a Cause, Volume 1. It is a collection of interviews with some of your favorite wrestling personalities. I am talking about Mark Marrow, Buff Bagwell, Jake the Snake Roberts, Tito Santana, and so many others. You can get your copy now for $15 on Amazon. It is available as a paperback. With me right now, I've got a very special guest. He is former WWE star, currently a part of the NWA. The one and only Rodney Mack is with us. Rodney, welcome to Wrestling with Heart.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. We've been working on trying to get you on here for a while. So glad we could finally get this to happen. Rodney, you're from Louisiana. Talk to me about your childhood and upbringing.
Yes, sir. Born and raised in Lafayette, Louisiana. I graduated from Northside High School. Played sports there, football, wrestled, track. I was pretty good and got a scholarship in football, and wrestling. I was a state champion and one of the top 5, I think, in the nation at the time. Yes, sir. And went on to play football for the University of Arkansas at Monticello, the Boll Weevils.
Okay.
Yeah.
So very athletic growing up. Were you always big into sports, even going back, like when you're like real little?
Yes. I've always been into sports, and again, well, especially like wrestling. I always tell this story where my dad. I started watching pro wrestling with my family, with my grandparents and my dad, but it was my dad that really introduced it to me. And I remember being 4 years old, and I'm the oldest of 2 brothers, and being 4 years old, I can remember my mother being pregnant with my younger brother, and she going into labor, and we dropped her off at the hospital, and my dad and I went on to watch Andre the Giant that night wrestle in a handicap match. I remember it was at the Domain Center. Yeah.
Unbelievable. It's
Yes.
crazy. And the thing with Andre, he was just such an attraction, larger than life. You'd be
Oh,
like,
yes.
oh my gosh, who is this guy? This guy's gigantic. And
Yes.
and the thing is he was such an attraction. He was able to cross over and to do other things as well, like movies and television shows.
Right.
He had like staying power.
Yes, yes. Yeah, yes. The eighth wonder, man. He was something special.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you know at such a young age, I'd like to give this a shot, or did wrestling, your love of pro wrestling, wanting to be in the wrestling business, I should say, come on a little bit later on?
No, it was from day one. It's just something in the back of my mind. I just knew one day, man, I'm gonna be a pro wrestler, you know. Yeah, just I was infatuated, I was in love with it. I mean, it was just, growing up, it was my everything.
So, was Andre your favorite wrestler growing up as a kid?
Of course, he was one of them, but I had a few. That's way back in the Mid South days. Guys like Johnny War Eagle, Bruiser Bob Sweetan. Um, yeah, of course, Junkyard Dog, and Ernie Ladd. But JYD, I would say, was always my favorite. And God, yeah, it was a crazy circle. God blessed me with the opportunity of not only meeting him. Of course, I would always go to the shows and see him, but meeting him and being able to train under him, it was like, wow, surreal.
Definitely a surreal feeling when you get to learn from some of your heroes growing up and people that you sort of idolized. And Junkyard Dog was huge, widely popular back in the 80s with the WWF. And so, walk me through the training process starting out, because you come from this athletic background, walking into something new like pro wrestling. It's hard having to take bumps and really condition your body to feel so much punishment. Um, Talk to me about your experiences learning from Junkyard Dog.
Um, well, the biggest adjustment for me was like, and I'm not trying to say I was the toughest guy in the world, but I think I'm far from being soft. But the biggest thing for me was going in and learning to bump. And it's, the bumps are one thing, but it's just getting the mindset of learning to fall backwards and land backwards. And it's like it goes against human nature. The biggest thing about that, the biggest adjustment was learning to fall back, right? Fall back and everything going backwards and falling, and not protecting yourself. That's the biggest thing. And then finally got the nerve to fall backwards, then you got to learn things like keeping your chin tucked so you don't knock yourself out. And yeah, that was the biggest adjustment.
And coming from a contact sport like a football, and being able to do stuff like amateur wrestling, it sort of prepares you for that mindset, because you're constantly having to shuffle around and move and back and forth and do all these drills. You learn from your trainers, they give you all this instruction, and then you have to put the reps in and you start having to continually work at it and perfect it.
Right. Well, and another thing is like football and amateur wrestling and boxing and whatever, you were taught to protect yourself and defend yourself. Well, in pro wrestling, you also, that there's difference, you guys know, like there's predetermined spots when it comes time to take the clothesline. You got to take the clothesline. There's no ducking or no blocking or no defending yourself. You know what I mean? Your only defense is learning to absorb the blow properly, the timing, right? Not absorbing the blow, I'm sorry, the proper timing, and taking the bump properly.
As someone that's now training future students, what's like the one piece of advice that you had growing up from your trainers that you've applied to now, working with the young guys today and girls today?
The biggest thing is taking your time. The biggest thing is being patient. That's number one, because everyone, everyone learns different, especially in this business. Pro wrestling is very intricate. There's a lot of little bitty things, and the biggest thing about this industry, this sport, is more than any that I've experienced is that people come to pro wrestling with no background at all, more so than they would football, basketball, and any other sport. I don't know what it is, but they usually come in and it's just the facts that a lot of people are just I don't know, from watching it on TV, it looks easy or fun or and yeah, it's a
Play around
different
on the
monster.
trampoline.
Yeah, it's a whole different monster.
And the thing is like, as we're talking here, you constantly have to go in there and really practice as much as possible to make sure you get the moves down correctly and execute them perfectly when you're out there, because it's easy to get hurt out there if you're not doing the moves correctly.
Right, and again, that's why you have to be patient and learn your fundamentals down and learn the moves and the spots and running the ropes, and that has to be you have to perfect that, your foundation, your footwork, and all, because it doesn't matter what kind of athlete you are or you were in the past. When you get in, the ring is different. There's the footing is different, and you can plant the wrong way and blow your knees out, or blow your ankles out. Yeah, so it's a very patient game to start to learn the fundamentals and the basics so you can move on. And here's the thing, you can't really move on before, because you have to do wrestling full speed. You got to train full speed. You can't walking through or going halfway through wrestling it's going to get you hurt. It's not a matter of if it happens, it's when.
Exactly. And so you've had all this experience playing all these sports. Did you find the transition to pro wrestling easy enough when you're coming from doing something as hard hitting as football? Because it's a different kind of physical work, but at the same time, you're kind of used to going out there using your body.
It is, but I want to say something about that. It's not easy. It did help me tremendously having a football background, learning how to work and building my body and being rugged and getting used to contact, and also with amateur wrestling. Like in my, I've done quite a few different sports and contact sports and football, basketball, baseball, and MMA, and trained for all kind of different things. There's not too many sports that's rougher and tougher physically and mentally than amateur wrestling. You got to be a dog, and I respect anybody who does that. But at the same, who's ever went through that, regardless of their record, you have to be a different animal. But I'm sorry, I kind of got off track to the question.
We're talking about making the transition to pro wrestling.
But at the same time, I feel I was a natural. I feel I caught on it as I was born to do this, so it was, my mindset was different. I came in with psychology. JYD was my first, trainer. And then Rod Price was pretty much at the same time. But Rod taught me psychology, a lot of psychology. And he always told me I had it. And I had no idea what he was talking about. But he was just, I needed to develop my psychology, but I was pretty much a natural at understanding the business, I guess, because I've watched it, so much as a kid growing up.
And the thing too is, like, with the internet and with social media, it's easier now to pick up and follow the inner workings of pro wrestling, how the business kind of works and how things kind of operate. But at the same time, you want to be going into this knowing I'm new at this. How do I navigate these waters? Because I want to get good at it.
Oh, that's great that you mentioned that, because I get a lot of guys that train other places and that come to me at Dogg Pound Dojo, my school, and I polish them. Jazz and I, we polish, do a lot of polishing up. And there's a lot of them from, that's been trained different places, and whether they quit or wasn't trained along those lines, or whatever the case may be. The biggest issue is they come in not understanding the business. Not understanding, not inside the ring, outside the ring, the purpose of you being booked. What's the business of your match tonight? Things like this. What is your role? Just all kind of, different things. And I always tease the guys, it's very hard to unteach what's already, bad habits that's been picked up from the indies, so to speak. But that's the biggest thing, is to make people understand the business first. Once you understand the business, then you have a lane to think in, a certain direction. Outside of that is just broad, and you're just shooting, what you think is correct. And a lot of time they're missing it way, over, because they don't understand the business itself.
Yeah, always important to learn the fundamentals so you get a good grasp on the craft and being able to move forward and move up the ladder, so to speak. And it's an art form. It really is. And you really want to get good at it as much as possible if you're serious and dedicated.
Exactly. And again, in the ring is one thing, but the business aspect about understanding why you're booked, who you're booked with, and which company you're booked with. There's all those different things, you know what I mean, have something to do with, with your position, your situation, or again, remember, it's a job. And anytime you get you apply for that job, it goes within, the rules of the boss. First, understand why you're getting booked. And then, it's a lot easier to go from there. Yeah. Direct your match on what to do in your match, how to wrestle your match, all those things.
And you really get a good education from learning from people that have been around for so many years. And so learning from guys like Junkyard Dog or Rod Price gives you that foundation. And then you take that foundation, you learn from these people, and then eventually you go off and start having matches. When you start wrestling, Rodney, wrestle in front of an audience, what goes through your mind when you first go out there? Did you feel scared or nervous at first? Did you feel confident? Did it take a while for those nerves to kind of die down?
Well, and I think I know it had a lot to do with me competing for so long before then, that I was used to the crowd. I was used to the pressure, that kind of thing. So, but usually when I got in, just like amateur wrestling or football, I really would block out the crowd. So I tunnel vision. And it took me a while to understand that in pro wrestling, it's totally opposite. We work and register and react off of the crowd. So you have to learn to read the crowd and right. So that was kind of one of the things took me a little while to understand how to listen to the crowd, what they want, and what, they're not buying.
A few years under your belt working the independent circuit, you later joined ECW, working with the DeBaldi's faction. Talk to me about that experience, getting exposure on such a huge platform like ECW during a period where the brand was kind of on its last legs.
Yes, well, first of all, it was it was number one, it was a blessing, and it was amazing for me to get in at least, share and experience the ECW company. But right then and there, I had only actually been training and wrestling combined for about 6 to 8 months in the business, myself and Jazz. And it was like, wow, it was totally, like so many words say, culture shock. Yeah, it was a whole different level, a whole different style. And I was exposed to so many different guys on the other level that it happened so fast for me.
I've had the good opportunity to talk to so many people from ECW in the locker room, things like that, of how it was like a family environment. Everybody was so welcoming and kind and just pleasant to be around, nice all around to be involved. And so,
Well, I'm glad you had that conversation with them because it wasn't like that for me.
really,
Oh no, it was real hard. It was rough for me. It wasn't just peaches and cream. No, it took me about a year and a half to actually get a match
really,
on ECW. Yes, yeah. So I was traveling all over the United States of America trying to get that match, like everybody else. It was rough, and then the blessing was though, it taught me a lot. Number one, I'm when it comes to like quitting, I ain't that guy. And so I was driving from Dallas to Maine to Vermont to, the East Coast, but any which way. And I wouldn't even, get an opportunity to wrestle a dark match or even have a tryout. I'd go there and was happy to be a part of the ring crew. Put the ring up, set it down, boom, and then drive all the way back to that. I was just happy to be a part of the team. And then when that opportunity finally did come, I was blessed with that opportunity. It just kind of skyrocketed. I went from not having an opportunity, like I said, about a year and a half of traveling, to after the first couple matches, I went from being a curtain jerker to working my way up there with guys like. Then it went to Chili Willie, and then guys like New Jack and Balls, and so. Yeah, things went once it started, things were on the up and up for me pretty good. And I'll never forget thanking the New Jacks and the Tommy Dreamers especially. Tommy was the reason why, for everything successful wise with myself, of course, and Paulie.
wow. But you were able to stick it out, and you did get accepted in by several of your peers there. So, I mean, that's...
Oh yes, once, and I think that was the whole thing with the older guys as well. Once I stayed there and kept coming and showed that I wasn't going to quit. That gained me a lot of respect. And I understand when I first got there, like I said, I was green as grass. I wasn't say arrogant or anything, but I wasn't a guy that was going to be bullied or pushed around. You know what I'm saying? I didn't bow, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm just not that guy, like a lot of, there was a lot of, back then ribs and all this and jokes and whatnot. And I don't mind a rib, but at the same time, I'm not that cat. And I think that was the biggest thing, that I wasn't scared of them challenging me. And I think they knew that.
What are some things that you would say like motivators for you when you're just going through all this negativity? What are some big motivators for you that encourages you to keep going?
Man, it's my upbringing. It's my bloodline. I got that dog in me. I've been like that. And I ain't never gonna stop. Yeah. That's always been my motivation, is to tell me I can't. Yeah.
I love that.
It might take me a little while, but I like that. I learned to be patient. The more patient I am, the better I'll be, because I know I just stay on that trail. Yeah. Don't matter what it is. You got me fired up right now. I got that dog in me, bro.
That determination.
Yes, sir.
So you were with ECW for a year? Couple years?
Yeah, it was a couple years. Like I said, I actually, it took me about that long to try to get a dark match with them, and then then when I finally did, it was real. I forget 6 to 8 months, and then right at up until the last pay-per-view.
That was so hard to hear. A company that had worked so hard, blood, sweat, and tears to get on TV, have a deal where they're showing their product on numerous channels and numerous platforms, for that to go down the way it did, that's a tough feeling. It's a tough pill to swallow for the business.
Yeah, yes, it is.
And so at what point did WWE call about signing a deal with them?
Well, they didn't really call. Actually, I think, this is now that I remember. I think Jazz got a call from Paulie first, WWE, and then she went over to OVW, to the center of the OVW. And when she got there, she told me about the camp and whatnot. And she said that she thought I would do fairly well, to come on and try it out. So I did. I wasn't really invited. I kind of went there and walked on, so to speak.
And OVW was a place for young talent to develop and grow, and then eventually they would get called up to go to the main roster. They'd get to go to either one of the brands at the time. This was during like the original brand extension of the WWE. You had Raw, you had SmackDown. They initially put you on SmackDown, if I remember correctly, with John Cena. What was the whole story there, and what was the initial talks about working together?
I'm not quite sure how it went down. I just know, they put me and John together, and we were doing good. We had, of course, we worked on house shows and whatnot together. And we had a very good chemistry, of course, because we worked together in OVW quite a bit against each other. And so, yeah.
What was Cena like to be around during this time?
Man, I could never ever say nothing bad about John. John was a great guy to be around. He and I got along well. It's not like I'm not gonna sit there and lie. Oh, we went out every night, and no, it wasn't like that. But we were together every day, and I consider him a good friend, and he's a great guy. He's a great leader. I shouldn't even have to say that. He was one of the guys always led the ring crew, and always held. And I always tell this to everybody: we all held each other accountable. We had great like Danny Davis and Jim, of course, they would jump your butt when needed be, and Rip Rogers and those guys. But we didn't really need that. You know what I mean? They oversaw us, but we all held each other accountable. And which is why I always tell everybody is why you have so many superstars that come out of that group. I mean, yes, we had great coaches, but where do you put it? Where do you do, how do you get?
Zootopia 2 has come home to Disney Plus.
Let's go!
Get ready for a new case.
We're gonna crack this case and prove we're the greatest partners of all time!
New friends.
You are... Gary the Snake. And your last name? The Snake.
Dream Team.
And new habitats.
Zootopia has a secret reptile population.
You can watch the record-breaking phenomenon at home.
You're clearly working it.
Zootopia 2. Now available on Disney Plus, rated PG.
A team of that many guys at one time become the greatest, every last one was, and I think a lot of that had to do with us holding each other accountable, be there on time, and, put in the work, because it was a team effort.
And so many people came out of there. You had Cena, you had Brock Lesnar, Batista, Randy Orton, Shelton Benjamin. The list goes on and on.
And all those guys I'm an easygoing guy. I love all those guys you just named, you know what I mean? They were all good guys to me, and they all bust their asses and work hard, which I say again, the proof is in the pudding.
What exactly happened though? Because the story was for you and John to be a team, and then things kind of broke down and they moved you to Raw.
Oh, yes, man. I don't know if everything was going well as far as I know. I mean, I don't know the issue, but I think they needed somebody there to fill the role of that, of the character of Rodney Mack being the militant, the Mac militant guy, the, anti-white, because I think whatever was going on with D'Lo and Teddy weren't, I'm not sure, but they wanted me to come in and replace D'Lo, and it was from more of a militant style gimmick or whatever.
You and Teddy made such a great team, such a great pairing, and then eventually they added Jazz, your wife, and Chris Nowinski and Mark Henry to the group as well. Just created like this amazing faction. The stuff you guys were doing, the promos and the segments were just hilarious. And then and your in-ring work, I feel like just shone through during that time. It was just some of the best stuff I've seen.
Appreciate it, man.
Of course. I gotta bring this up because and I had Teddy on the show. We talked a little bit about it. The White Boy Challenge. What was that? What was that deal about?
Hey, man, in the words of Teddy Long, I don't know, player. I was just doing my yeah. It was fun, it was. At first, it was kind of, it was a little nerve-wracking. I kind of got heat, man. Not kind of. I got heat everywhere I went, But, yeah, I think that was Vince's baby and whatnot. And, I enjoyed doing everything with it, man. Enjoyed working. I had a great crew to work with. I learned so much from Teddy and Mark and Chris, and Jazz. Just, yeah, it was phenomenal, man.
What were some like little pointers that you kind of picked up from them that you can recall?
Well, my main teacher in there was Teddy, man. Teddy just made it to where I had nothing to do but show up for work and go to the gym. He took care of my travel. He just always kept me going the right direction, gave me the right tips. Yeah. So and the thing with Mark, I learned a lot from. Just being around Mark, him being the world's strongest man, the way a lot about him is different. And I sit there, you know what I mean, and I soak up everything about the man, the way he walks, the way he carried himself, you know what I mean, the way he worked out, just everything about him. I picked up so much about, and it helped me develop as a character and as a man.
And it's interesting because as you're growing in your career and you start coming up through the ranks, you learn from so many veterans of the locker room that kind of help build your confidence up. And so once you get to TV and you have the matches, you have all these experiences, it's like, man, I'm doing pretty well here. And so you just keep growing and you keep learning. And then eventually it leads to a big storyline or a title run or whatever it is. But you've had some great mentors and partners and things like that to where you're able to have a successful run, and people still talk about it to this day.
Right. And I'm very blessed. Like I said, man, I've been so blessed to work with the Orange, the Fitz, the Dean Malenkos, the Big Boss Man, Red Trail. I mean, I could go on and on, over. And I have a relationship with anybody I can sit there and name, and I could name them I could go on for days, and that's one of the best things I feel that I took along with me. I have a relation, Ron Simmons, it doesn't have to be with guys that I spent years or months with, just sitting there, a few days or, just over the road time and time, you develop that relationship and that bond with those guys. And I'm so blessed to have been able to walk and still along those aisles with those guys and call them my friend and my family.
It's like a brotherhood, sisterhood. You're there. You're on the road 24/7, 365, 300 days a year. You're constantly passing the time with these people up and down, sharing stories, cracking jokes, whatever it may be. And you have these memories that last a lifetime.
That's right, man. And it's more about the memories than anything else. To me, anyway.
Yeah. Over the course of your career, who would you say have been some of your favorite opponents that you've gotten to work against?
Man, that's a long list, though. Because let me explain first, man. Doing what I do is a dream and it's a blessing, and I love what I do. And it doesn't matter who I'm in the ring with. It's that feeling of being, man, I'm living a dream, So with that being said, man, it's hard to choose. But off the top of my head, I can throw some names at you. and I say them for different reasons, not just the competition, but for the chemistry, for the experience, the knowledge. You know what I mean? And the guys like Mark Henry, Booker T, Benoit, Ray. You know, man, I hate to not Dan Severn. Guys, yes. Trevor Murdoch's, Silas Mason's of the NWA. And I could go on, man. And, you know, I can remember something special about every match.
And now what you're doing, you and Jazz, your wife, you've got a wrestling school, have been part of the NWA, and they're training talent and molding that talent into superstars. Talk to me about what it's been like working as a coach and a trainer.
Oh, it's another thing I always say, blessing, man. Sometimes it's a good one, and I feel like sometimes it's a lot. But no, I love what I do. The most important, I just love helping people, man. In general, outside of wrestling, in wrestling, but wrestling is just the avenue. And I always tell everybody, I try to teach people about life, and I use wrestling as a tool, you know. But we love what we do, and I'll give anything to see anybody, and all of them be successful and just make it to their next level. It's what I always tell them. Your next level. I know everybody wants to be at that top WWE or whatever the letters are, but you know the truth is it's not going to happen for everybody. But what can happen is through hard work and dedication and doing it the right way, you can and will be successful as a pro wrestler. You know, there's plenty of places that you can go and that would accept you, but you have to be real with yourself and know your role and where, you know what I mean, as well. But yes, we love helping people.
And the other thing is that there's so many roles in the wrestling business too. You can be an announcer, commentator, manager, referee, work backstage, producer, agent. I mean, there's so many positions that I feel like just that you couldn't even think about, but they're there. And it's up to you if you want to go that route and look into it, pursue that. I mean, there's all kinds of ways to be involved in the wrestling business.
That's right, and that's the biggest thing. You have to look in the mirror, man. And first of all, to be real, you know, to be successful in this business, you got to tell the truth. You got to be real with yourself. You know what I mean? Look at yourself and know your limitations and know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and then, you know, roll with that. Because like you said, there's all kind of different things that you can do in the business and still give back to the business, do what you love to do and still be a part of it.
It has to feel good inside knowing that you're helping these people be successful and kind of guiding them along too.
Man, it's like I said, it's one of the most satisfying feelings in the world, man. You know, it's for me to see somebody make it, and just because I had this much to do with it, maybe that little bit helped guide them, you know, just that much. And I don't want nothing out of it. We don't look for anything out of it, just to be able to, you know, cheer that person on.
Now, outside of wrestling, what causes are you very passionate about, big into?
Oh man, just again, like I said, helping people, man, giving back to the community, in which we try to do a lot again outside of wrestling, but through wrestling, just giving, you know, to the homeless, doing benefits and just going to see people like homeless people. I do it all the time. I walk, you know, and see someone. If I give them my last dollar, I'll stop and go out of my way to see somebody in need and just stop and help them. Like we do food drives, meet and greets, just show up, appearances, try to make somebody's day, man. You know, we work still with wrestling, but we do a lot of stuff for the Boys and Girls Clubs, San Antonio and surrounding areas. We work with kids in need, like us. Some have cancer. Some was on life support. We've done shows and continue doing shows for kids in need. We also recently done a meet and greet at a retirement home, and we plan on doing a show there. So yeah, and there's going to be 1,000 other things I skipped over, but every and anything we run across, like I said, food drives, clothing drives, just show up at the park and play with kids. Yeah, we enjoy that.
Was there ever a memorable moment or event that you were a part of, or something that you can recall, a memory that was very heartwarming for you and something that you'll never forget?
Well, just recently, we've done a show, and the kid, he's now a part of, he's an honorary wrestler at, or part of Dogg Pound Dojo, and his name is Rogan. And Rogan he has brain cancer, and he's been going through some things and surgeries, but he's bouncing back, and he's bounced back, and he's a soldier, man, and he's known as our thumb wrestling champ. You can't mess with him, man. He'll get you. But yeah, so he comes to the shows a lot, man, and we got him. He's part of like I say, he's part of the family, but it's very heartwarming and touching to just be able to be there for him,
And you're helping train him, or you're helping work with him?
Oh no, he doesn't wrestle. I just joke. He's a thumb wrestling champ. He comes in and yeah, but no, he just comes to every show and loves what we're doing, and we actually do benefit shows for him as well.
Oh
And
wow,
he's just
okay.
one person, yeah. But there's a few. We work with autistic kids, and I have a couple of guys that wrestle with us that are autistic and represent. Yes.
And the thing is you're there coaching, championing these people. You're helping make a difference so that they can go on and be successful. And you're a big part of their success. So that it has to feel good knowing that this is going in a good place, in a good direction.
Oh, it does. And again, it has nothing to do with wrestling. Not all of them make it. Some of them don't wrestle anymore. But I've got guys that, students, I call that. We've been doing this like 30. I've got guys that calls me all the time 20 some years ago and whatnot. They don't wrestle anymore, but I still I kind of like life coach them. It's always about something to health or just keeping in touch or some advice about something. But yeah, I stay on the phone daily, all day, having hour conversations with guys, and Jazz is like, man, you always on the phone. But I love it, man.
Well, I'm sure the reactions when you talk to these people, they appreciate the advice you're giving them.
They do, and you know what? I'm hard on all of them, and I'm sure they could tell you. I'm a stickler. I stay on them, but I want to say that I appreciate them letting me be able to be that coach, and they accept it, and most of them do. You know what I mean? They react accordingly. I mean, and I'm proud of them for doing that.
What is it about giving back to the community that gives you the most joy?
Again, to be able to sit back and know that I had something to do with that person getting a job, learning how to read, or doing the right thing, help old lady across the street, fix somebody's flat tire across, just anything. Nothing. It's just if I could see something that I did a little something to, man, makes me proud, because that's the way I was raised.
Yeah, and being there, running a school with your wife, doing it a long time, you're helping train the next generation of professional wrestlers, and the business is gonna continue to thrive and grow. And at what point in your career did you decide, let's open up a wrestling school?
Well, I really didn't. It kind of came upon me when I first started in the business. And I moved from Louisiana to Fort Worth, Texas. And this was like in 1998 and 97, 98. But anyway, I just started training at a gym. I went to a gym called the Cowtown Gym in Fort Worth, Texas. I walked in there and there was a ring, And I thought it was a boxing ring or whatever. There was some kids in there boxing. And so I went on to lift weights and whatnot. And I had nowhere to train for wrestling because I just left, moved from Louisiana. So anyway, I didn't know anyone. So I started messing around in the ring with everybody else, just stretching and doing what I knew. And there was a bunch of little kids in there. So I started doing my thing, and they came to me, and I saw them jumping off the rope and doing some very dangerous things. And I was like, hey, hold up. Kids were like 13, 14 years old. So I just stopped them, and then they were, all of a sudden right there, I was the leader, like, don't do this, don't do that. And so I would do my rolls and stretches, and, here they go following me. So one thing led to another. And matter of fact, I'll share a couple of those names with you. There's a guy by the name of David Fuller who went on to sort of discover or put out Backyard Wrestling back on 60 Minutes years ago. He went on to doing that, found that, and then he opened up his own wrestling company and was pretty successful, and also became a part of the NWA prior to Billy Corgan's run with it. And there's also another kid by the name of Kevin Douglas that I found there who he was like 15 years old and ended up becoming the NWA World Junior Heavyweight Champion. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you have that now, being able to help be a part of these people's lives, training them, and they're becoming successful. And the school is just going to continue to grow and get bigger. And with the NWA's backing, can't go wrong with that.
Right. And I'm, very fortunate, of course, with that. And thank you, Billy Corgan. And man, it's nothing but love for the guys. One of the greatest guys I ever run across. Great person. But it gives us that opportunity to give the guys that platform. And I'm just going to say, I was so blessed that at the Crockett Cup, I think there was 14 to 17 guys that from my NWA Texas territory, or guys that I put hands on, so to speak, that had an opportunity to wrestle on that card. 17, yes.
Man, and the thing is independent pro wrestling, I feel like it's at its highest right now because so many people go on and are making a name for themselves, and you hear about them through the publications and websites, and many of them can be found right through Dogg Pound Championship Wrestling.
Yes, sir, and I'm proud to say that, and yeah, we like I said, we consider that school is considered a polishing camp or developmental, and so we get guys from everywhere that just want an opportunity to showcase what they have on our platform, and I do everything that I can to get them seen and booked other places.
How do you feel wrestling has changed since you started out?
Man, it's for a lot for the best. Because I mean, there's a lot more places, a lot more opportunities to wrestle, a lot more opportunities to be seen, a lot more places to make a career. Yeah, so it's changed. I say for the most part, for the best. You got more places to train at. You got bigger places, and yeah, everything about it. Now, sure, we go back to some things are overlooked and forgotten and left behind, but that's called evolving, and that happens with everything. I mean, I'm fortunate enough to where I've been in the game myself in jazz 30 years. But at the same, yeah, you can call us old school, but at the same time, I'm always have been willing and able to evolve with the business and not stay stuck and be stubborn to some ways.
Are you still wrestling currently?
Well, not at this particular moment, but I just went through a little rehab situation, but yes, it won't be long.
It's amazing. You still have a dream. You're still pursuing it. You're still going for it, and you're giving back and you're paying it forward to others. You've had just such an amazing career, and hopefully you'll continue to keep pushing that goal of keeping the dream alive and paying it off to the next generation.
I appreciate that, man. I got some guys that are that I call my guys, just to name a few of them, but like Bam Bam Malone down in Texas, and Easy, NWA Texas champ, and Soda Pop Hendrix. And I got Tag Team Death Row Militia and Devastation Reborn. All those guys are they're doing very, very well. And I've got quite a few other guys as well. Elijah Madovic down from Puerto Rico. And we've got a good connection in the pipeline going with Puerto Rico. A guy by the name of Mr. Biggs down at AWA. A lot of good things are happening, and those guys they're lighting the board big time.
Yeah. Where do you hope to see professional wrestling go in the next few years?
Oh man, just continue to get bigger, man. Especially, I'm so proud of what Billy Corgan and the NWA is doing. Our team, WWE is, like everyone says, always going to be that number one. AEW is like always number two, but that third slot is shifting right now. And we're up on the rise, and it's doing great things. And with the territories, I think it just, in my opinion, it is the hottest of the companies right now.
Do you still keep in touch with some of your old colleagues?
Oh, yeah, yes, I do. From time to time I do. But even if I don't, whenever that spur of the moment comes, we give each other a shout out, and we always pick up right where we left off. From Shelton and Kesey and Mark Henry and Teddy and Shelton and them guys, So yeah, we still nothing but love, man. Renee, Dupree, a lot of the guys, yeah.
Yeah, it's a big family reunion.
Always, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, Rodney, I want to say thank you so much for coming on to Wrestling with Heart. It means a lot to me and to my listeners and viewers that are watching this on YouTube. Where can people find out more about you, your school, anything you want to plug, feel free.
Yeah, man, just, check out the socials, Dogg Pound Championship Wrestling, man, on Facebook and Instagram, and Dogg Pound Dojo as well. We got Paradox on YouTube. Y'all check us out and support us, man. We got some good stuff going. Got old school. We still old school at heart, but yeah, check us out. I think you'll love it.
I think so too. Thanks again, Rodney, and you're more than welcome to come back.
Thank you, man. Well, I'll be seeing you guys soon. And all my dogs out there, thanks for the love. Keep supporting us, man.
Absolutely.
See you soon.
See you soon. And again, check out Wrestling with Heart. Wrestling with Heart Champions for a Cause Volume 1, now available on Amazon, $15. Collection of some great interviews, Mark Marrow, Buff Bagwell, Jake the Snake Roberts, and many more. Check it out. I'm Stanley Carr, and I'll see you next time.
This is Wrestling with Heart. I hope you found this podcast to be informative and entertaining. If you did, please hit the subscribe button and look out for the next edition.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.